I don't know if you can see YouTube. Oh, even if you could see YouTube, you wouldn't know where the hell to look, would you?
Not yet, no.
How can I change that? Um, some lag. Where's the damn URL? I don't know if that works. Try that. Look at that and see if you can see yourself.
All right, one sec.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say no.
Nah, it gave me a bunch of YouTube results.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that's about. Server
Yeah,
URL.
yeah.
Oh, that's the encoder setup. Where the hell is the freaking URL? Like, what the hell is the point of having? All right, this is gonna piss me off. I'm gonna cuss here in a minute. Basic info, encoder setup. Channel. Again, I apologize. I didn't get a chance to really check this out last week like I'd wanted to.
That's okay. We're the guinea pigs. It's all right.
Oh, wait. Try this one.
This video is unavailable.
What the hell? Alright, one more. Connect to a world of gamers with the... What the hell is this even... What is it doing? When I click on that one, I see me. When I click on that one, I see me and I hear me. When I click on that one, I see me and I hear me. When I click on that one, I see me and I... All that echo.
The gaming link gives me a video is unavailable static screen.
Is there... Wait, privacy... Let me change it to public. Advanced settings... I may have had it restricted to private. And I'm wondering if there's like somewhere where I thought there was somewhere where I set it where like you could set it to like US only or whatever, but I don't see that, so I just set it to public. Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Alright, so let me get you back to where you should be, and you're there.
Boom.
Oops, hope I didn't just break it. Can you still see it?
Yes.
All right, let me go make an announcement in Discord real quick.
Great.
If I can find Discord. Oh, you are my Discord, so I'm gonna have to minimize you for just a second.
That's okay. Just to limit my bandwidth, I'm just going to pause the YouTube stream. I'll still read along in the chat, but yeah, I think if I limit, it might reduce any potential lag.
Sure.
Australia's not known for their fast internet.
I'm gonna try not to smile so much. I don't have any front teeth, so supposed to be getting that addressed in first of the month, but I'm trying not to smile too much in the meantime. Alright, so we'll give that a minute to reach the world and see what that garners.
Sounds
and
good.
Hell, if it's just me and you, then we'll just have a little chat and then we'll go on about our business.
Sounds good. I'm excited.
Unfortunately, with this setup, because I have you full screen, I can't monitor Discord and the chat at the same time, because I have to have it show that entire monitor. I guess I could log my server into Discord or one of my laptops, but it seems like a lot of work.
Maybe, have you got Discord on your phone?
I do, actually. That's even better. It's been kind of quiet the last few days, up to the point where where Jonathan announced the Game Jam theme. It's pretty buzzing, but it was mostly just people wanting to know about the Game Jam, and then once the theme went out, it's been fairly quiet. So hopefully everybody's working on their Game Jam entries.
Yeah. I noticed probably ever since the second course dropped. That's when I first noticed. Maybe people are off learning.
That's true. We got a couple.
And we have people. Yeah, we got a couple in the chat.
Yeah. So again, everybody who's just joined us, apologize for the short notice. This was supposed to go down last week, and it didn't actually happen. So Hanley and I have been trying to get everything squared away. Don't expect a huge turnout. It's not like one of John's industry pros. Not that Hanley here is not just as interesting, but you know, people don't turn out in droves to see me like they do with Moltaire, you know, or anything like that. Also, I'm going bald. So you got just a couple more minutes, and then we'll just go ahead and get the show on the road. I know you're at work. I don't know
Sure thing.
how much time you have available.
I could push the envelope a little bit. Probably have an hour from now, maybe a little bit longer.
We'll see if I can talk that long.
Where am I working? I do IT service desk for the Australian branch of News Corp.
So have you done like external tech support, customer service in the past?
Yes, for one of Australia's biggest telco providers, mobile phones. And then prior to that, I worked for a small company that did tech support for fast food restaurants, which had like Linux-based setups, you know, the cash registers, FPOS, all that, and then they had a whole bunch of little other companies,
Right.
A taxi company, for example, and stuff like that.
So which do you prefer? Do you prefer the external end user type of interaction, or do you prefer the more help desk internal style of support?
They're entirely different. I think I prefer working in an internal help desk just because you get a little bit more respect from your user base. So News Corp, obviously in Australia, has about 9,000 people. There's not many people that try to throw their weight around when it comes to internal IT. Whereas that previous company, because that company charges this, you know, a different company for IT support, they're instantly on the back foot with you, you know, not too happy. Some of them always mention how much it costs to call you and all this thing. It makes it very difficult. And then if, you know, they don't like you for whatever reason, they get even angrier. So I prefer the internal.
So that was exactly the opposite, because I did tech support for Dell computers for years and years, and started in the consumer sector, and then went to you know, corporate, or we went to small business, and then we went to corporate and institutional, and I mean, believe it or not, the consumer home user base was my favorite, because you never knew who you were going to get on the phone. I had, you know, I had a young lady that was singing to me one time while she was doing the things that I was asking her to do. The stories that I've been told by some of those people while you're waiting on a, you know, Windows ME box to DFFR, you know, or something like that. You know, it's to me it's a lot more entertaining than just the dry, you know, the guys, and especially in corporate environments, you know, the guys that want to call and be, you know, I've been doing this for 20 years. This is the part I need. You're going to send it to me, and I'm like, no, I'm really not, brother. That's not how this works. So I'm on the other end of the spectrum.
I guess what I do now is pretty consistent. So it's, yeah, fair enough.
All right, so I guess we're gonna go ahead and kick this thing off. A couple of things that I do want to point out. First and foremost, this is our first ever community AMA. Those of you who may be watching may have been involved in the AMAs in the past. We've had, as you see in the description, we've had industry professionals from large gaming companies and even some popular gamers. Special guest visitor. Everybody say hi to Piper. Say hi. Hi, Piper. So one of the things that we're trying to do over the course of several months, we've been investigating different ways to get more community engagement. And this is one of the ideas that we've kind of tossed around, not only to garner more community engagement, but just to get to know one another. I mean, a lot of us are in Discord several hours a day, and we don't really know who anybody is. So this is another benefit to this is to get to know the people that we're talking to on a daily basis. I will say also that this this stream is was given the blessing by Mr. Jonathan Weinberger, as you see his logo at the bottom of the screen there. However, he is in no way responsible for anything that comes out of my mouth. So if I say anything really off the wall, then definitely let him know so he can put me in my place. But finally, you will notice that I'm not as good with the camera or as dreamy in front of the camera as Mr. Weinberger is. So you'll have to pardon the beard and the toothlessness. Some of that I'm gonna address in the near future. Probably not the beard because the wife likes it. But so today we have I'm able to monitor Discord to some extent through my phone. The way we had to set this up, I can't see it on my computer. All I can see is Mr. Hanley. Hanley, for those of you who don't know, was the winner for our first ever Ultimate Unity Community Game Jam with a game called Puzzlez, which we will take a look at here in a few minutes. It's a fantastic game, very well put together. I did not finish it, not because it was bugged or because it was a bad game, just because that end part with the block pushing, one of my least favorite kind of puzzles. So I couldn't bring myself to actually do it. No offense, it was really well done, but I got to that part and I'm like, all right, it's going to be it for me.
We'll talk about that later.
So yeah, I never gave you that feedback. But for those of you who don't know me, I'm Joe. I've been here for pretty much since the Discord channel started. We have a lot of things in the pipeline for the community. Websites in the works. A new website is in the works. The second game jam is currently underway. Hopefully everybody is participating in the new game jam and is happy with the new theme. If you're not happy with it, I don't lie. I didn't make it, so I don't know what to tell you. Became a moderator, not so much because the community needs moderation, but just as to kind of step up and be a kind of a helping hand. Jonathan is obviously busy making awesome new courses for everybody, so you can't run an empire by yourself, I guess. You'll see I got Unity in the background here. I don't know where that came from. It's not mine, but some garbage I found on the internet. So that being said, Frylock, it's been around since the first course came out. I don't remember when exactly that was, but it's been several months. We've been here, not quite as long as some of the larger communities, but we're definitely trying to get there. So Hanley, we wanna meet Hanley. We don't want to spend a bunch of time talking about me and Jonathan and the Discord. Um, so you're Hanley. We were talking before we decided to officially kick this off that you are in uh, help desk. So the Puzzlez game was like I said, it was really well done. Um, and it was well done, especially for the time frame that we had to put together. Granted, it wasn't like a Ludum Dare where you only had 48 hours, but it was a fairly short time frame, and it was one of the longer entries in the jam for something that wasn't um, not to disparage any of the other games, but for something that wasn't just repetitive. Like the Believe was just you just played the same level until it was over. Um, and Believe scored really high, obviously on for the judges. So where where did the I want to be cliche. Where did the inspiration for Puzzlez? Where did that come from? Has that been rolling around your head for a while, or was that you just put that together during the jam period?
Uh, Interestingly enough, I sat there for about 2 days after the theme was revealed and couldn't think of how I wanted to incorporate, didn't know what game style. I predicted that most people would go down the 2D game path. Um, it wasn't until I watched a YouTube tutorial on how to implement a Cinemachine camera in the same way of like a Gears of War style camera that I turned around and went, I want to try to incorporate this into my game jam entry and make a small little puzzle game. And then when it came to integrating the theme into my mechanics, when someone says side effects, the first thing that pops into a young male's mind is the side effects of using steroids, for example. You get a lot stronger, but there is that reported side effect of things shrinking. So my girlfriend came up with that, and we built it from there. But I thought, okay, let's do some game mechanics around being stronger temporarily, but not necessarily smaller. So I was able to split that off and create just snowball from there, and that's how I came up with the tall, the slow, the short but fast, and then I had to figure out something different for the strength aspect, which I decided to troll everyone by inverting the controls. So it all came together relatively halfway through the jam. I did a lot of scene building first off, but I didn't know how the rest of it was going to come together. But I then crammed. I had a little bit of time off work. I was able to finish it off and put together a pretty solid entry.
So what I'm hearing is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what I'm hearing is that the behind the pretty subdued, colorful environment, the game is about drug abuse and erectile dysfunction. Is that what I'm understanding?
You could say that's what originally inspired the plan. It certainly did evolve from that, but that's all I could think of. If you said, okay, what's a side effect? You think of taking drugs. What are side effects of drugs? The first one that came into my head, or my partner's head, was steroids. So it is an interesting way to gather inspiration, but it worked out.
So, and I mean, it is interesting that they say that artists have artists see things differently than other people see things, and musicians hear things differently than other people hear things, and it's interesting to do you think of a game developer or a director or a designer or whatever you would be in a solo game jam situation, taking something that taking something like that and turning it into something like Puzzlez, which was your game jam entry. Um, And you've been around. I mean, you've been around the Discord for a while, um, and we know you're in the service industry now in the great land of Australia. How you're not dead yet, I don't know. Um,
Neither do I.
I don't know how anybody's not dead in Australia. Everything will kill you in Australia. Um, so, from a perspective of you know, do you have any development programming background outside of Unity, or did you just or outside of this course, or did you just pick it up when you started learning this first ultimate game development course with Jonathan?
I'll give a bit of background. I've always wanted to do programming in some sense. When I finished what I believe Americans would call middle school, I was about 11 years old, give or take. We did a presentation when we graduated, and it said, "Josh, what do you want to be?" Or Hanley, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And mine said programmer. But I didn't really get past any HTML stuff through high school. And it wasn't until a few years ago that I had an opportunity for learning at work via lynda.com, which is the LinkedIn learning portal, and having a work account access to that really opened up my opportunities to look for development related content. I did start with Java. It never really stuck though. So while I was looking for the right language for me and what I wanted to do with my career, I found courses on edx.com, Udacity, and then finally Udemy. It wasn't until I, picked up, hey, why don't I make a game? It's what I've always wanted to do. I do play games all day. Why not make a career out of it? So weighed up the Unity versus Unreal about 12 months ago, maybe a little bit earlier, and have been purchasing those courses ever since. Some of the knowledge stuck, but I did stick with Unity and C#. And it wasn't until I actually joined this community and completed Jonathan's first course that I was able to actually retain any of that knowledge. And I think that speaks volumes of Jonathan's teaching. And I don't think many people would disagree, but during that first course being pushed back on and say, "Yo, I've taught you this once, go and do it again," do it on your own type thing. It's really progressed my development, and I was able to go through most of this game, that past game jam, without having to reference too much material because of the teachings from Jonathan have actually stuck, which really tells me that I'm retaining the knowledge and I can make a career out of it.
So do you find it when you go back? I don't know which of the we have YouTube personalities and we kind of got Udemy personalities, but so uh, after taking Jonathan's course, and I'm going to plug Jonathan's course a little bit here since he has given us permission to do this on his brand. But do you think that it's after having gone through this course, is it easier to absorb material from say a Mammoth or a um, whoever, um, to go now that you have kind of a foundation to go watch those courses, and does it click better, or is the teaching style just so radically different that it's still just kind of in one and out the other?
I haven't tested it too much, to be honest. I do still watch Brackies, for example. Good friend of Jonathan. So, his tutorials even this week on the nav mesh and the AI
Mm-hmm.
gave me straight away an idea that I wanted to make a little proof of concept RTS game just to show some friends. But apart from that, I do still follow some YouTube personalities, but I haven't revisited any of the previous Udemy courses that I had purchased, like Mammoth, any of Ben's content, etc. Dev Slopes, for example. I have not revisited those courses to try to pick up anything, because most of what they were teaching has been in Jonathan's content. So yeah, I'm sticking to that, because I think at the moment that's going to be where I'm going to learn the most and retain.
And to be clear, I'm certainly not saying, I don't think that you're saying that Ben's courses or Mammoth's courses or DevSlopes, that any of those are bad material. It's just a different style of teaching that
It's all the style of teaching. Yeah.
yeah, I personally watched a couple of hours from each of those guys, and I really, it was hard for me to pick up anything. It was there wasn't a lot of explanation, there wasn't a lot of research, there wasn't a lot of do it yourself. It was just all um, you know follow along with what I'm doing, and hopefully you'll have something that works. So um, getting to little community interaction here. So the game jam, it sounds like the answer is yes, but the game jam that we had just finished, was that your first jam, or have you participated in smaller, local community things or online things in the past?
Not at all. That was the very first. And my portfolio, I believe, is right underneath my photo here on this stream.
It
If
is.
you do log on to that, you will see my game jam entry, both of the games made with Jonathan's first course and one of the DevSlopes 2D games, and that's it. So this really was the first jam. I told myself very early on I wanted to participate, because a very original entry is fantastic for a portfolio. I do game development well, I'm learning to be a game developer to make it my career. So, just buying a bunch of courses and, only putting out the content that are in these courses, it's not probably not going to land me a job in the industry if an industry professional had their eyes on me. That might get past a HR representative at a larger company, for example. But I think at the end of the day, having an original game created in a game jam, or anything else that I've worked on, is going to be a lot better. So that was my thinking going into it. It was my first game jam. It's the first time that I've worked with assets like that. I used the Kenny 3D assets, downloaded them, learned how to place them in the scene, and just went from there.
And are you in the process of, or intending to be in the process of, participating in the second one, the month long secret level jam?
I am. I'm going to try to put in a solo submission. Um, I did get a handful of messages, to be honest, asking for collaboration, which was, really interesting. Something I didn't expect, but a lot of people did reach out. But I believe at this moment, I'm still the only Australian here, and time zones are a critical factor. Even though it's a month long, I certainly don't want to be hindering anyone and any team. So I did make the decision very early that I will participate in this jam as well, but as a solo submission. We'll see how we go.
So you're just antisocial.
No, one day I will. I think the collaboration and learning how to work in a team with Unity is very critical. And if some of us want to make careers out of it and be Unity developers, we have to collaborate. So that is a step that I eventually would like to take very soon, just not now, just not this next month.
So what is it that, we all have different ways of going about doing things. We have guys like me who, are kind of, uh, you know, I'll pick up something that I'm interested in and I'll go through it, and if I like it, I'll try to turn it into something else. I'm mainly web development guy. Um, you have guys like Drake who are just absolutely driven and just devour everything that they can possibly devour every waking hour that they possibly can. So where do you fall on that barometer of I want to learn this, so here's my routine. What do you go through to try to pick up new concepts and apply those to your existing projects?
I need to be inspired. If you turned around to me and said, Hanley, I'll give you $10. I want you to make me a roulette slots machine game, I would probably struggle with staying focused. When it comes to my little side projects at the moment, if I get inspired, such as Bracky's videos this week, perfect example. I still want to go home right now and make a little RTS concept just to prove that I can do it, and then I might put it away if I don't like it, type thing. I think I need to be invested in the project, and then I can give it 110%. But yeah, I'm still very raw when it comes to game development. Though I won a game jam with a lot of great entries, and I played to win. I took the judging criteria seriously and really put effort in. I still feel my output was more than my ability. I'm not sure if you had a chance to look at my code through the jam, or if anyone has had a look.
I did glance. I didn't go through it thoroughly, but I did glance through it, as I did with all of the entries, just to make sure that nothing jumped out as hey, I ripped this off from somebody, or I'm using something that I'm not supposed to be using. But I did look through it, and everything. Everything looks solid. I don't know what the work of a professional. I've been doing this for 20 years, and I do it 12, 16 hours a day. I don't know what that looks like, so I don't have that point of comparison. But the code looks good. The code looks good, and obviously
it worked somewhat.
Obviously, the output looked good. There. It's readable. It makes sense. Where things are makes sense. It makes sense. Could I come along behind you and pick up and expand on it? Maybe. Maybe.
There was not a single line of commenting.
Not a single line of commenting. No documentation whatsoever. But I don't think anybody expected somebody to come along behind them and continue their game. But just out of curiosity, you mentioned some reservations during the first jam. Mary was curious, if you had those self doubts. How did you push past that and produce the and I'm a redneck, by the way, so if anybody is wondering about my accent, I'm southeast U.S. boy. So I try to hide it, but it comes out every once in a while. But how did you overcome that that self doubt and the reservation that you were going to put out a potentially playable product?
Through Jonathan's advice, which was small steps. Every development problem can be narrowed down to a smaller problem, and if you solve all those smaller problems, you can solve a bigger problem. So I was able to really go on that, and some planning. We have a channel in our Discord in the programming section called Management, I believe, and that is a very useful resource. A few of the other entrants were, putting together day to day, what am I going to achieve today? Small goals, and they build and they snowball. If you take my puzzles section, the cube puzzle out of my game jam entry, that was the longest thing that took to code. But if you break down the steps to recreate that, the task becomes so much easier because you have clarity. Solve these 3 problems. This is the output you get. and it all comes together. My game is a very simple game in terms of code. I believe it's all of the other things that come together to make a great game that makes that game look good. It had, okay assets, the sounds were okay, the particle effects were very terrible, could have been improved, but that with basic code can make a fantastic game. You look at Flappy Bird, for example. I know DevSlopes definitely have a clone in their Udemy course
They do.
on how to make it. Very simple game, very successful mobile app. So it's not about being the best developer. It's all about setting small goals inside your scope, which I think is also very important. Small goals, small steps, achieve those steps, and see the output. But I also think scope is important. I didn't go ahead during that jam and go, I'm going to go create a brand new scene, do all these other things, and then not finish my original section, which I only just finished. So had I done that, half the game would have been playable. So I think that's also really important. If you have a time limit, such as a game jam, to set a scope, make sure it's small and achievable, and then break down those tasks into smaller steps and go from there.
So did you engage in that type of mentality when you're going through the game jam, or when you go through your personal projects of we do have a lot of participants in the Discord who are just, I'm going to go write this game. Here's my concept. Here's my theme. Bang, bang, bang on the keyboard, and we may or may not ever see anything actually come of that. Did you find it useful to? Do you find it useful to, as a beginner, to set those goals, to say, okay, well, today I'm gonna spend 15 minutes learning how to make the character rotate 45 degrees, and then use those building blocks to ultimately make a shippable product.
Yeah, and I think you have to. As I said, my goal at the start of that first jam was to get my submission in and on time. I didn't want to be late, and I was aiming for top 3. I certainly wanted Jonathan's second course as a prize, because that was my motivation. So those of us in the current game jam, the secret levels jam, are going to be going through the same thing. There's Unity swag up for grabs, as well as course 3, which looks fantastic, and I want that too. So it's, as long as people are motivated, they're always going to try to put out that content. But if they don't have that mindset, small goals, small steps, an achievable scope, they might struggle. But I think we do see a lot of games that do get a concept out, great theme, and we might see a couple of mechanics, and then we don't see it again. So we don't really inquire or ask too many questions. Maybe we should. Maybe people just want to play around, try a new mechanic or a new way of doing things from a YouTube tutorial, for example, and they achieve it and they try to move on. But I'm not really too sure.
So everybody heard that, right? So Hanley set his mind in the first jam that he wanted to be top 3, that he wanted course 2, and he came out on top. So everybody knows he's going to be, one of the number 1 threats in the second jam, because he said it. I want course 3, and obviously Hanley gets what Hanley wants because he's Australian. So everybody keep an eye out. Watch your back and make sure that Hanley's not sneaking up behind you, because he ran away with it last time, right?
I was actually shocked, to be honest. But actually, before I would like to touch on that. As much as when I made my submission and it was in, I went, sweet, I'm pretty confident. And then I started going through everyone else's submissions and playing them. I absolutely forgot the criteria, and I walked away from that playing session going, Battle Drake's going to be top 3 with Rifting. It is a fantastic game. It looks amazing. That was the number one game for me. I knew Romy was going to place well. Believe was fantastic. The Danny Murray one was great as well, and I'm like, I might not get top 3 here, but scoring is super important in a game jam. It is a competition, so I was actually shocked. I was watching the live stream and messaged my partner, and I was like, I didn't get 3rd or 2nd. I didn't get it. So it was a very, very big shock when Jonathan announced it.
So is your partner? You keep saying partner now.
Girlfriend.
I don't know what that means in Australia. It means something kind of different in the U.S.
Politically correct term for girlfriend.
All right. I didn't want to say anything, that would be anything other than what is the reality. But so your girlfriend, I want to say girlfriend. I'm not going to say partner because I'm not an Aussie. So she's supportive of your. She just leaves you the hell alone and lets you get what you get done what you need to do. It's not, come, Netflix and chill with me or whatever. Constantly, you're not paying attention to me. Blah blah blah, whatever. So you got one of those cool girlfriends who lets you do what you got to do and supports you when you even it sounds like provides input and feedback. Hey, why don't you make a game about erectile dysfunction? I don't know what she's trying to say about you, but is she that type of a partner or girlfriend that she's supportive of your hobby? Does she see it as a hobby or does she see it as a career thing? Hey, hi girlfriend.
Yeah, she's in the chat. Hey Rafi. I couldn't ask anything more. Very supportive. We're turning a hobby into a career. So at the moment, obviously, I'm still full-time employed, not in the industry. So, I do have to work on games when I'm at home. I ask her for input, ideas. She playtests for me, gives me feedback. We work together. It's very good. Like I couldn't have asked anyone. Like she playtested the whole game jam entry, and it was always beaming with feedback, always saying, "Holy, this looks amazing," and was very motivating. So I couldn't ask for any other better person to have in my corner. I'm very grateful.
So I'm going to ask you. I'm going to hold my hand over the chat here so she can't see what you're saying because that's how that works in reality. But are you just saying that because she's here or is she legit that awesome?
Not at all. She's awesome. We play video games together. We play World of Warcraft. We play co-op games together. She's fully invested in my success as a game developer with Unity. So, I've got one of those unicorns, and it's fantastic.
A unicorn. So is that like on the hot crazy scale where it's like if you find one, then tranquilize it and turn it in for research kind of unicorns, or is it just an awe kind of unicorn?
Bit of both.
Bit of both. All right. We won't get that far into your personal life since she's watching. She has a really cool name, by the way. I don't know if that's common in Australia, but that's as far as I'm going to go to compliment your girlfriend. So, there's really, I mean, we've covered everything that the Discord community who decided to join in. Mary did say that that she may try to sabotage your game. She didn't say it directly, but I kind of got the impression that she might be willing to sabotage your game if it comes down to, getting in top three so she can get course three. So you may want to keep an eye on Mary, or better yet, make her part of your team so that she can't trip you up. Just saying. Um, so do you? I can't decide if I lost you. You're kind of frozen. Um, do you? You may be gone. Are you
Hello,
back?
can you hear me?
Are you good now?
Yeah.
All right. You froze up for several seconds, so I didn't want to.
Okay.
I don't
Sorry
want to
about
continue talking bad about you in front of your girlfriend and you couldn't hear me.
that.
Um,
It's okay.
so your girlfriend, partner, is obviously very supportive of what you do, and you guys, for whatever reason, play World of Warcraft together. And I guess it takes all kinds. There's somebody for everybody, whatever. Um, so is it for me? I'm noticing you got some scrub. What do you think about my beard? What do you? I had to trim it back a little bit. What do you think about my beard? Is my beard as cool as yours?
Yours looks very aesthetic. So, yeah.
I appreciate it. I try to, I can't take it all away, but I tried to trim it up a little bit. Make some lines, make it a little clean. Um, so your girlfriend is very supportive of your efforts and what you're trying to do. Um, is it something that you want to? And we probably already talked about it, but just so that everybody is clear, is this something that you want to make a career doing? I'm almost 40. Um, I wasted the entire first 25, 30 years of my life. Well, 25 years of my life. Um, and I'm kind of picking this up as a hobby because as soon as I start doing something as a job, I don't like it anymore. So, is this something that you wanna say I'm done doing help desk for Backwood Australia News and or whatever little rinky-dink company you work for? Um,
Didgeridoo.
is it something you want to get away from that and just one day say, I feel like I've learned enough. I want to throw my card in the hat with Ubisoft Australia. I don't know if Ubisoft is in Australia, whatever, um, and try to land a gig in that type of environment, or is it really just kind of I'm going to do this as a hobby unless something comes up?
I'm a little bit on the fence. Very recently, Jonathan mentioned that he learned more in the first 6 months working in an enterprise environment with development than he'd learned for 4 years self-taught, I believe. Um, that speaks volumes. I think I want to make money out of this. So in terms of my path, I don't necessarily have a preference if I go to a AAA or an indie, if I get that good, or make a bunch of indie games solo or with small collaboration teams and earn side income and live through that way. I have watched a certain game developer conference video of an indie developer who's never made a hit, but he does do it full time. And he has 2 kids, so he's doing something right. So part of me wants to make a few apps for mobile, a few games here and there, integrate Unity ads, get some sort of side income going, because that'll obviously all help. If one of them blows up and gets 100,000 downloads, yeah, the Match 3 guy, Drake, yeah. And also, I think he just recently released his latest title on Steam. I'm a bit of an open book. If I wouldn't mind being able to join a AAA studio or an indie, just any company, and get that experience, because ultimately I think I will learn very quickly. But if my route takes me down a solo developer route and I build up side income on the side to a point where I can turn around and say, yeah, I can do that full time, I can then leave my job and call myself a professional. But for now, I'm just an industry amateur.
So, do you think it would? Do you think it would help? And this is just a suggestion, and I'm going to say this wrong. Rafaela,
Mhm.
she's in the channel. She's watching. Um, I'm just going to throw this out there. Possibility. Um, awesome. Uh, if you maybe didn't grind so many shitty dailies in WoW, that you would have more time to actually develop, a playable game. Like, if you didn't go play Ulduar like over and over, do you think you might have more time to actually make a game that's not pushing a block around?
I could refine your question. Could I be doing a lot more to progress this quicker? And the answer is yes. Since Christmas Eve, I think I've played about 400 hours of NBA 2K18 on top of all the other gaming I do. So I should sometime. I'm a procrastinator. I sat down last night going, I'm going to brainstorm for this game jam, secret levels. I sat there, I played NBA for 2 hours. So
Now, you know that basketball is not a sport, right?
I don't really watch it. I just play it, play the game.
How does that even work? Like, how are you interested in a game that's built on a sport that you don't watch? Like, how does that work? The sport. I'm gonna sport in air quotes.
From a user gameplay perspective, if you don't care so much about the pay to win mechanics of that game, there's ambient. It's a very well developed game. There's progression. There's great animations. It's a very good user play experience. There's the crowds. It's actually, if you don't care so much about the little things from a game development perspective, it's a fantastic game. So that's what had me hooked.
So, on that point, we're I know we had you and I had been in here for a little while before the announcement went out. Um, but we're pushing up on an hour. Um, from a monetization standpoint, you had talked about how NBA, whatever XVCII, was pay to win. Um, there's a lot of controversy right now about even more so than when I was playing like Outlaws Online and things like that. There's a lot of controversy right now about pay to win games, loot crates. What if you were to and this is just kind of a question to kind of gauge your own personal morality, so I know whether or not I need to speak to you again. If you were to be able to put out a game tomorrow and say, the publisher says, I'm going to publish this game, how do you want to monetize it? How would you go about making a profit off of that game? Do you need to talk to Rafaela, or can you give us an answer on that?
Oh no, I can give an answer. So I'd like to think I'm not a greedy person. Would I put out a cheap game for $1 on itch or Steam, for example, and not have any other in-game advertising or in-app purchasing or any of those things at the beginning of my career? Probably. When it comes to building things to make a career, if I had if I made a mobile app, how would I monetize that? I'd make it free to play, and then I'd follow Zepto Labs, which is a mobile app company that copped a lot of stick back in the day They have.
We lost him again. May have lost me too.
You back?
Are you back?
Yes.
Then I guess I'm back.
All right. Sorry about that. I'll rewind a little bit. If I was to make a mobile app now, I'd take Zeptolab's stance, who made King of Thieves and some Battle Cats game where it's like Robot Wars but with cats. It's a really weird title. But how they integrated Unity ads. They did have their pay-to-win and in-app purchasing, but for the free-to-play player, they also had a function where you could click a button and watch an ad, and if you watch the whole ad, they'd give you a little bit, and that was able to generate a little bit of ad revenue. I'd go down that route first. Giving the users the option to watch a few ads, gain a few coins extra to help them progress. I wouldn't sell out and do an EA. That's for sure.
You don't care for EAs.
I think what they did will be the norm in the future. Maybe other companies have gone around it differently, but that is the direction the market seems to be heading. I just think that they maybe pushed it or pulled a little too hard and received the backlash.
We do have games like Rust, which was shit. Die Young, which is garbage. But you also have games like Subnautica, which is a smash hit. It was released in early access. 7 Days to Die, which are you have mixed opinions. People have seen me playing it. Also a really good game. Also made in Unity, FYI, if anybody didn't know. But Raphael, I'm kind of curious about your. I know you're not like the guest if you're still around. Are you on board with his monetization strategy, or do you think he needs to adjust, make some changes? While she's answering, or not answering, whichever the case may be. So, any advice that you would have for A, people taking the course or courses, and B, for anybody that's participating in the upcoming game jam, based on your experiences, is there any advice that you would give to these guys as they progress and as they participate in the game
jam? Be ambitious would be one of my tips, and then the other important tip is to know to ask for help. A lot of my problems that I faced during the first jam, I worked on for maybe 2 hours on average, maybe a lot longer. And if I was still having trouble, I'd ask in Discord, people like yourself, Tyler, Battle Drake, a few others, all willing to give feedback 24 hours a day. And I was able to fix all of the issues that I had eventually. So it's just all about, it is a community game jam. No one's going to steal your idea. If you're halfway through the game jam and you post your idea, everyone's going to be like, sweet, I can't wait to play that. They're not going to go, oh, sweet, I'm going to stop what I'm doing and go copy this person and implement it better, which is something that crossed my mind. I didn't want to reveal too early what I was doing. And then I realized very quickly that was silly and that I didn't need to do that. This is a community. We're all here to help each other. So as much as it is competitive, we're not a self-sabotaging community. So don't be afraid to share, ask for help, and really push the bounds. Like this new jam is WebGL, so what can we achieve in WebGL? We know that most people are going to probably try to do a 2D game again. knowing that people can go forward and be like, hey, wait a minute, how do I, stand out? Do I make the best 2D game there, or do I go do something a little bit more ambitious, something someone hasn't seen before? When I watch the stream, when I watch Jonathan play my game, like, he was freaking out about the tall potion in the maze, which I did not expect the reaction for. I totally thought just a little inconvenient maze, get through it, move on. It wasn't that a big deal for me, and it turns out he loved it. So, it's really, if you are ambitious, creative, put your ideas to life and go from there.
Fantastic. Rafaela is 100% behind you and supportive, as you have described her to be. I can't say I'm not a little disappointed. It makes for much, much less, much less fodder. While we're having these little chats and in Discord. So I can't use your girlfriend against you because she's obviously crazy about you and wants you to be successful or whatever. So we're pushing just over an hour. So anything in closing, anything that you want to add on the way out the door? I did want to get to showing off your game, but we got a little carried away with conversation, and I don't really have a format for these things, but I'm sure everybody has seen it. I got 6 people. Jonathan probably had 40 or 50 when he was playing the game. So
yeah, it was fantastic. In closing, some people didn't get a chance to play my game to the end. If you or anyone want to see how it ends, I did upload a speedrun video to my personal YouTube, which may be linked to my portfolio on itch. If not, I can post it in Discord. I have tweeted it out. But really, my Game Jam entry, I was able to speedrun it in 3 minutes and 25 seconds. And it was interesting to note that most people that played it averaged anywhere between 15 and 30 minutes to fully play through, just based on that last puzzle and how difficult or time consuming it could be. If there was a bug that did happen, you had to reset it and start over. So, to those that never got the chance, have a quick look at that video. After you run through the gate, game over. So that's really it. Apart from that, Joe, thank you very much. You've been great for the community since its inception. Yeah, I've been on the Discord since December or January, and you've been very helpful to me, and will be going forward. And thank you for having me on.
Absolutely appreciate your time, and we may have you back again. You're a smash hit. One last question in closing, and I may make this a regular thing. If there was a game that you ever played that you wish you had made, which game would it be?
Sorry?
If there was a game that you've ever played that you said, I wish I had made this game, what game would that be? If you had to pick one, what game would that be?
That is a difficult question. We Were Here, which is a small game made in Unity, free to play, VR supported, also a puzzle game, co-op, very, very good assets. The team behind that also have just released We Were Here 2 for $10 on Steam, also a fantastic follow-up to it. I think that was a very neat concept. The whole gist of that game is, 2 players are in separate sides of a castle. You have walkie-talkies to communicate, and you have to work together to solve each other's puzzles in the room to escape together. So when I played that, I went, wow, I wish I made this. And, it may inspire me to do something in the future.
It's an excellent concept. Well, I appreciate your time, Hanley, and we'll let you get back to work. And thanks to everybody who signed in, even if only temporarily. And have a good evening or a good afternoon, and join us in Discord.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.